Thank you. Thank you for having us here today. It's a pleasure to come all this way to talk about our project that we're so proud of. Thanks, Ken. So just as a way of introduction, Alan Belcher, I'm a chemical engineer, and in support of the cross-border cooperation that we're talking about today, I was educated in Ontario, started my career in Ontario, and my career has essentially been one of introducing innovative technologies into existing industries. So I've spent 35 years doing that in the food processing industry in Ontario, in Illinois, in the eastern United States, and I've also introduced innovative technologies to the corn ethanol industry in the U.S. Midwest. For the past 5 years, I've been working with Mascoma, and we are attempting to initiate an innovative technology that to date, anywhere in the world, has not been done successfully or economically. So this is a engineer's dream, working on innovative new technology that has never been employed before, and it has a worldwide beneficial effect of producing liquid transportation fuel that is renewable, non-fossil fuel based, does not encroach on the food production, and has a beneficial effect on the carbon footprint, on greenhouse gases. If you believe in global warming, that's a good thing. If you don't, well, it's still a good thing. What do we do? Mascoma is a technology company. We do three things. We do R&D, research and development, in the Boston area. We do engineering to develop this technology into plants that can, manufacturing plants that can produce the liquid fuel. And then we work with local governments, local agencies, private investors for the actual development of projects. And we have been working diligently for the past 4 years on this project in Kinross, 15 miles south of here. We are also working on a project in Alberta, very similar. Our company was founded in 2006 by Lee Lind, a professor at Dartmouth College, who spent most of his career studying cellulosic ethanol. Just as a footnote, the most abundant organic chemical in the world is a chemical called glucose. And glucose is a building block of many things, but the largest quantity of glucose in the world is contained in cellulose, and cellulose is the building block of wood. So why are we here in the UP? There's plenty of tons of renewable wood. Our source of cellulose, 60% of a tree is cellulose, which we are looking for. We can harvest that wood renewably, sustainably, and we can maintain a significant production of liquid transportation fuel, adding to the independence of North America on imported fuel. So we think we're doing a worldwide good job, and we're very happy to be here in Kinross, in the Kinross area, doing that. What do? We use organisms to convert cellulose into glucose and further on to ethanol. So ethanol is liquid transportation fuel that we produce. We use a specific technology called consolidated bioprocessing, and that is just quite simply, I'll show you in a very dry technical slide a bit later what that means, but we do in one step what our competitors are doing in 2 steps, so our capital cost of our plants is by definition somewhat lower than our competitors. We are able to, I should say that our company consists of about 100 people. I'll show you on a map where we're located. We have about 60 PhD scientists working on biological technology, evolution, where we convince bacteria and yeast to do our job for us. And our scientists come from Dartmouth and from the Cambridge area, MIT, and Harvard. And they are world-class, and they have done a world-class job in the last 4 years developing our technology, so we're very proud of it. But our first application is not with wood. It is with actually the old corn ethanol industry, which started up in the 2000s in the Midwest, where over 100 corn ethanol plants were built to produce ethanol, the same product that we're going to produce. And we have found ways to convince our organisms to replace the yeast that is used in corn ethanol to produce higher yielding ethanol at lower cost. So our technology is stage-wise working into industry, starting with an established industry, the corn ethanol business. And we're also pursuing other applications. Once you get an organism trained to produce glucose from cellulose, you can take the glucose and produce a whole range of petrochemical replacements. So from renewable growing trees, we can produce a styrene cup, a styrofoam cup, and not use petroleum to do it. So that's what our business is. This is the staged development. I'll go through it very quickly, but we're the first stage of our rollout of our business is the grain technology. We call it Mascoma Grain Technology, or MGT. We are now in about 70 corn ethanol plants on trial basis and about 10 on a committed basis. Our next step then is to take that technology and perfect it in the wood conversion to ethanol, which we're doing in Kinross. And then further on out, we'll be producing petrochemicals. That's kind of our business model. Here's the dry slide that just tells you why ours is better. On the right, on the right you see our process, and on the left you see what our competitors do. In order to get any cellulosic feedstock into a workable, convertible material, just as the pulp mills do, we have to cook it. And so everybody has to cook it, and then we, which is a very harsh treatment, and then we have to manipulate it so that the organism can do its work. The traditional way has 3 or 4 steps that we don't have. So just long story short, over on the right, there are fewer steps. And so consolidated bioprocessing is what our 60 scientists in New England have been working on over the past 5 years. So I'm going the wrong way, aren't I? All right, so here's where, just give you a geographic picture of us. Our headquarters are in Lebanon, New Hampshire, which is right next door to Hanover, New Hampshire, which is where Dartmouth College is. Our corporate office is in Waltham, Massachusetts, a suburb of Boston. And our pilot plant, which was built with the gracious support of the state of New York, is in Rome, New York, which is very close to Syracuse, and about a few hours south of the Canadian border. We have an office in Mississauga, Ontario, where we have about 20 engineers who do that conversion of our R&D into plant-based technology, scaling up to plant size. And then we have the Frontier plant site, which is right here, like I said, at Kinross. And the headquarters of Ken's company, our partner here in the UP, is in Marquette. So just where are we on the project? Is it starting yet? Do we have everything in place? Where are we? And when's it all going to happen? Well, earlier this year, we went out for bid on the project. And these projects, we have a partner, a private enterprise partner, a large company in the oil industry. We together went out for bid on this project. The cost came back in higher than we expected, higher than we wanted, and higher than we could accept. So we are in the process from early this year to now of re-engineering the plant so that the things that cost a lot of money, we either get rid of them or we make them smaller or we make them more efficient. The organism, in the meantime, has been getting better as we've had more time to do R&D. So we have just recently re-costed the plant. That's firming up over the next few weeks. And we expect that to be good. And good simply means the return on investment of an investor's equity is acceptable to the investor. So that could be all the way from 5% to 30%, depending on who the investors are. And so we're working on a particular return on investment that we need to have. We're finishing the design work. We expect to be breaking ground when spring happens here next year. So spring happening here, when is that? That's certainly not February. With lots of luck, it's before June. We're expecting to be breaking ground in April. And having it completed early in 2015. We'll be actually starting it up in the fall of 2014. We expect to be in commercial production throughout the year of 2015. We've been fortunate in working with the state of Michigan, the MEDC, and a lot of other economic development folks. Everyone has been supportive. The people at Kinchlow have been our partners all the way through this. The MEDC folks have been our partners, very, very encouraging all the way through this. The Department of Energy has been a partner all the way through this. And all of these people have been auditing us all the way through. We've had as many as 6 professional engineering companies auditing our technology. Every penny we spend on R&D, plant development, project development is audited, and which is good. We feel like all of our supporters know us as well as or better than we do, and we're happy for their support. So I think that's an overview of our technology, our company, and our project, and our relationship with Ken's Frontier. Be happy to take any questions. Yes, sir.
Is there a reason you weren't talking about Valero and Valero announcing that they were 75% under this project?
Yeah, it's. I suppose I could have mentioned it. I did say that we have a large private investor, and private investors don't like to have their names plastered over public documents without their permission. So if it's not relevant, I chose not to mention it.
The price of gas just went down considerably. Is there a break-even point for the ethanol that you're producing?
Yeah, we're actually projecting that these plants, by the way, are not just taking trees and turning them into ethanol. They're also producing power, right? So 60% of the wood is cellulose. The other part is a very high energy fuel called lignin, Right, so when you burn the lignin and the other byproducts to make and you produce power and heat to process your cellulose into ethanol, you also produce excess power, which can go out onto the grid. So the economics of this technology requires that you be able to either sell your byproduct to someone who's using fossil fuel, who can replace the fossil fuel, or you sell to the grid. In the situation where we're selling to the grid, our ethanol will cost us $1.50 a gallon. So that's how you get a return on investment. We expect the RIN price of ethanol from cellulosic to be over $3. So it's economical.
How many cords of hardwood would it take to make 20 million gallons a year?
Approximately. I don't do quarts. Is that some kind of metric?
565,000 green tons a year.
And that's no joke, folks. That when you put it in perspective, I saw one of your presentations up at the Keweenaw Mountain Lodge, and they showed a picture of stacked cordwoods that you couldn't get into the picture. So it's a good business for the UP and Canada. And I believe that's one of the reasons you may have located the plant where you did.
Well, it is. This is a wood basket, and also on the other side of the border, there's one there too. The Great Lakes basket of hardwood is, a very good source of the cellulose that we need. And unfortunately for the area, there are a number of other users of wood, the pulp mills, that are just due to world markets not doing well, and some are closing down. And we think we're helping out by coming in and using that same sustainably harvested materials, keeping the jobs here, keeping the logging industry alive.
Are you looking at other feedstock supplies besides forest harvesting?
Yes. In this area, no. But biomass, biofuels will always be produced when this becomes economically viable. Will always produce where the biomass is, and the biomass will always be where the sun shines the brightest. So we don't expect this to be, the capital for forever of biomass production, biofuels production. But we're looking at aspen in Alberta. We're looking at bagasse, which is leftover from cane sugar harvesting, bagasse in Brazil. And then there's a whole host of energy crops that are being developed. The nice thing about not having to develop an energy crop is it's one thing you don't have to worry about when you're trying to get your technology working and getting it scaled up to something that works. So, and the logging industry is just that. There's nothing to invent. It's been done for years. People know how to do it, and they're already in place doing it. So that's one less thing for us to worry about.
Is switchgrass then one of the
Yeah, that's an energy crop. It's being developed in various states in the U.S., like Tennessee. There's some government support in various places to try and bring that on. And there's a competition that says, miscanthus is better than switchgrass, and on and on. We can't wait for that argument to be settled.